the NFC East. All four teams winning records. We'll dive into it now. Amani Toomer, NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network. You can listen to NBCSportsRadio.com and download the NBC Sports Radio mobile app today. Amani hosts the show with our old buddy Dan Schwartzman, who was, of course, the host before me here on the Sports Bash. Amani, what's happening, my man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
We're doing good. I mean, 5-4 Eagles, Giants win, and Redskins win, and the Cowboys win. I mean, all four NFC East teams. We've got a battle royal brewing here. I want to get your thoughts first on the Philly win over Atlanta, the way they ran the football and played defense. If they continue to do that, is that their recipe to get themselves into this wild card field?
Absolutely. I think you saw what the Philadelphia is going to have to do. Ryan Mathews is going to have to be a big part of what moves forward. I think when you look at what Darren Sproles gives you, he is a great change-up back, and that's all I think he should be. He's too small, and he's too effective as a change-up to Ryan Mathews. But the fact that he played so well this past weekend, I really think makes up for the fact that the receiving corps has not performed to my expectations. I think Mathews is the only receiver that I kind of trust, and with him, I don't know if I trust him as well because he drops a lot of balls as well. I think that receiving corps needs an overhaul because you look at a young quarterback, and I just don't think he's getting the help that he needs to get his confidence going as well as it was early on in the season because his receivers, I think, in my opinion, are letting him down.
Hey, when you were a receiver, you caught the ball. You were a sure-handed guy. Did you ever go through the drops? Did you ever play with a guy who just had the drops? And, I mean, is there a way you can work on that, or do you either just have the ability to catch the ball or not? And does that weigh on your quarterback? Does he say, look, I just can't trust this guy anymore, I'm not throwing him the ball? Does that start to play in as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I've played through the drops. I've played around the drops. I've never had a whole receiving corps with the drops, though. But it's just something you have to go through. You're going to have the drops. If you think you're going to be a receiver, you're not going to have a drop. It's like being a baseball player and never go through a slump. It just doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. You just got to work your way through it. Most of it is confidence. Most of it is the perception that you have when the ball's in the air. What feeling is going through your mind? Are you have a feeling of fear when the ball comes at you? Are you relaxed? Are you tight? Those are the things that you have to overcome as a receiver. And that's part of being a receiver. And if you're going to play in the league for a long time, you're going to have to come out of the other side.
So does Aguilar look like a guy who's lost it, like just not lost I mean, it's just like, I know the throws behind him high, but he don't catch anything, it seems like. And when he does catch it, he caught that one ball, it's a bobble off of his chest. And it just seems that he's mentally lost the ability to have confidence in his catching ability.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I think with a rookie quarterback, it's tough because what enables you to catch the ball is when you come out of your break, you know where the ball's coming. And I think when you have a rookie quarterback, that consistency isn't there. It's like instead of looking at a small window of where the ball possibly could be, you're searching the entire sky to where the ball is. And I think that has a lot to do with the inexperience of a quarterback. It's not just the quarterback's, making the right decision, but putting the ball in a place where the receiver is expecting it. And I think it's going to be a maturation process. They drafted him number 1 last year, so I believe that they think he can have the hands. It's just going to take him time. A lot of young receivers drop a lot of balls. That's not uncommon. But, are they going to ruin this season because of the fact that they can't catch? It's going to be interesting to see down the stretch how this team works.
Think about that. Amani Toomer, a team that has wide receivers that can't catch, might hold them back. Unbelievable. The Giants the other night, they get a big win, 6-3. They got the Bears and the Browns coming up. That would be like, okay, we feel like an 8-3 team down the stretch. But do you think the Giants have the look of a playoff team?
I don't. I look at their 6 wins. I can't figure out why they won most of the games. I look at their 3 losses. I can't figure out why they lost those 3 games. So it's it's not like the Cowboys. Oh, they're good because they got this, this, and this. The Giants, I mean, their defense is playing better, but at times they play horrible. Eli's not playing great. The receivers are playing pretty well when they get opportunities. Their running game is spotty at best. I can't figure it out. It's a good thing. It's a good situation to be coaching from with wins under your belt, but you just never know. You never know how this team, when they stack up against the best teams in the league, how they're going to react.
Yeah, their defense came to play late in that game against the Bengals on Monday night. I guess if you're a Giant fan, that was one reason for hope turning the corner that, hey, that defense really played a really good fourth quarter. And look, they got these 2 games coming up, but their last 5 games are brutal down the stretch.
They are going to be brutal, and that's kind of how we got to figure the Giants. What we got to figure out when we're looking at this Giants team, like we can't look at them against the worst teams in the league. We got to look at them against the best teams in the league. Look at them against playoff caliber. Look at them against the NFC East, and where do they really stand up? That's going to be the big question when they play Washington, when they play Philadelphia again, and when they ultimately go and play the Cowboys again. I think those are the 3 games that. They have to win 2 of those 3 or they're not even going to really be considered.
All right, Amani Toomer, NBC Sports Radio. I want to get your take on the Romo last night because I thought he did it really well. In 2004, you played Warner starts. Now, he started a little different, but Eli was there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys got off to a pretty good start with Warner, but there was like a loss or 2 in there, and then they made the change. How difficult this situation is and the way that Romo stepped out in front and said, I'm not going to cause a distraction. I'm just going to say Dak's the guy right now. Going through quarterback change like that or even having that little rift in the locker room, that's not always easy.
It's not easy, but it's the reality of the NFL. I mean, most people don't get their opportunity to get out in front of the media and say what they want to say, and he's lucky for that. But the NFL rules, and that's kind of how it works. I remember when I first got my opportunity to start, I was talking to Joe Theismann, and Joe Theismann told me the only thing, your job as a starter is to make sure your backup never sees the light of day. And Tony Romo didn't do that. He let Dak Prescott in instead of being everybody thinking, man, Dak possibly could be great. He's actually on the field showing how great he could be. And so when you become expendable and you're expensive, that's kind of how the league works. They spit you out the other end, and it's a tough pill to swallow. But I think every player who's ever played in the NFL has gone through a very similar situation. So it's not unique in any way. The only thing unique about it is that he got opportunity to talk about it.
Eagles at Seattle this week. Amani Toomer, tell us what it's like to play in the great Pacific Northwest there.
It's like when you go to a rock concert, and at the end of the day, your ears are ringing. That's pretty much what it's like after. And when you're right next to somebody and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, and you can only see them mouthing words, you can't even hear the words that are coming out of their mouth. That's what it's like to play in Seattle, and it's like that for the entire game.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep the energy up in that place for so long. But so when people say it's different there, you're saying from experience it's legitimately different playing in that building as opposed to going to Oakland or Dallas or Cincinnati or Washington or Philly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That place is – they've made it so that it is the loudest stadium, and it's an outdoor stadium, so you wouldn't expect it to be that loud, but it is – it's distracting, to say the least. I mean, it is. As a receiver, you're sitting out there and you're looking at the ball. You have to have like the confidence that everything is going to be okay. Just when you see the ball move, run your route. You can't hear what the quarterback says. If he checks, you really don't know. I think it's a mistake if they go up to Seattle and try to do motions and all that stuff. It's too loud for that. You line up, you play football, you go. And that's what was the only thing that worked for us, even though we never won there.
Great stuff from Amani Toomer. You can hear him on NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network, which you can listen to at NBCSportsRadio.com. Download the NBC Sports Radio mobile app today. Like I said, Amani Toomer, Dan Schwartzman with that show, and, of course, Dan formerly here. And tell Dan we said hello, Amani, real quick. Philly on the road this week in Seattle. Any shot? Do you think this team has is there a path to victory for the Eagles?
I don't, because I don't think they'll be able to run the ball, and then you're going to put Carson Wentz to try and throw the ball to receivers that can't catch. I don't think against the Legion of Boom, I don't see that happening.
Monty, it's always a pleasure, my friend. We'll talk again.
All right, thank you.